Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to Three Girls, One Track to listen to our recap of the Canadian GP Sprint Plus Race Weekend. I'm your podcast host, Afsa.
And I'm Bex.
We're Felicia-less today because Felicia don't pick up her damn phone.
At all.
So that's why we're Felicia-less today. We could not get in touch with her until about 10 minutes ago, so she's not coming today. We'll see her next race for Monaco, which is tragic. Tragic that she's missing this race.
I know, great. 8 race weekend.
For Monaco, which will not be good. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about why I think it's going to be even worse this year. But Bex, what are your first impressions? What's your off the top before we hop into our
You want to rate it?
Our fun thing? Oh yes, let's rate it.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Okay.
The reason it's not getting a perfect 10 for this weekend is because nothing at the top changed. Like, it's Kimmy won again.
Okay.
If you give me like a Charles Leclerc win or even a Max or a Lewis, this would have been a perfect 10. But just because we got it was Kimmy winning again. Nothing.
Yeah. I think I'm actually gonna go with your 9-ish. I'm gonna do like a 9.8. Because for me, I actually am perfectly fine with Kimmy Antonelli winning every single race for the rest of this season.
So that's the thing.
I'm so fine with that.
Yeah.
But like a race where Max or Lewis doesn't win, you'll never get your 10s from me. You'll never get your 10 unless Max or Lewis is winning. Any of these other bitches win, you're never getting a 10 from me. You can get close, but it'll never be a 10. Listeners, you know how I feel about, the current grid and the people on the grid. So you can imagine this was a fantastic race for me. So I actually watched it late. I was at brunch at the time. Yes, I didn't catch the race because I was out and about with the people. Actually, I was hosting a cookout.
This is the first race this year that I watched live.
Oh, wow. I normally watch it live.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I was hosting a cookout and there was no reception at the cookout, so I couldn't even backdoor watch the race on my phone. So I, of course, am addicted to my Twitter feed, and so I was refreshing on Twitter, being like, "Oh no, I need to remember the race is happening," and I just see a tweet pop up that says Norris DNF, Russell DNF, and I went, they made this race just for me. The only way it could have been better was if Hudson Williams was waving the black and white flag. They made it perfect for me.
We need to talk about that after.
Yes. My king.
Okay.
But pushing on, do you want to hop into some F1 news?
Yeah, I have one thing. It's kind of
yes.
It's on your list. Did you see that they're doing Monopoly has an F1 edition?
It was not on my list, but I did see it. It looks like one of the new licensed Monopolies is going to be F1 themed. The little bib bobs are going to be F1 cars, their helmets, and it's going to be like going around different tracks.
So I was like kind of interested to see how they place it because Boardwalk is usually like the most coveted.
Is it Monaco?
No, I thought that they were going to do it sort of like make it like Monaco or maybe
Vegas, Miami.
Like but basically the path of the Monopoly board is just the path of like a normal season.
A season.
Yeah. Interesting. There's a couple of because there's not enough. Well, I think
not enough.
There's like 1 or 2 rate tracks that are missing. I didn't look in depth and compare, but I counted, and I think there's 22.
Okay.
So there's like 1 or 2 tracks that are missing.
Because they probably started putting this in production before, like a bop ago.
Yeah.
When they originally were planning out this collab with Mattel, Hasbro.
Yeah, I think so. And so there are one thing I did see that there are a lot of F1 fans that are upset because it's only available in the United States. And they're just like, that's crazy because...
Wait, no, that is crazy though. That is crazy.
Most of the F1 fan population is not in America. And I'm just like, yeah, I get that y'all are upset, but...
Yeah. That is an understandable upset because I'm gagged at that. That's crazy. Like, what do you mean it's only available in the United States? And yet, it's hitting my checkout cart today. Pre-order is getting placed today.
I'm literally looking
I love Monopoly.
to order it right now.
No, I love Monopoly. I am a very violent Monopoly player. I have flipped a Monopoly board before.
Okay, I love Monopoly. I actually have it on my iPad. I play it when I'm bored. It's like my go-to game. So we might need to play.
Yes, me and Keith, my bestie for podcast listeners, have been banned from playing Monopoly more than once a year by our friends.
Y'all are that bad? Ugh.
It's gotten that bad. We haven't played it in a while because now we have Catan and Risk, which we can get our anger out, but we don't flip tables anymore. So.
Well, I'm glad that y'all aren't flipping tables. Good for y'all. Good for y'all.
Thank you. I try. That was a lovely piece of news. And in another lovely piece of news, have you heard about the newly discovered species of wasp that was named after Oscar Piastri?
No, and why would they do that?
Okay, so my understanding is that there were some researchers who found a new wasp species, which was found in Burmese amber in northern Myanmar, I believe is how you pronounce it, maybe. And they named it Gwesped Piastri. And it honors Mr. Piastri's achievements in Formula One, and because the color of the amber piece recalled to the first author the iconic McLaren papaya. So I guess that author said who, their favorite McLaren driver is, that they went Oscar Piastri for the wasp.
They would feel some type of way having a wasp named after me.
Like, it was good? Just
mm-mm.
Oh.
I don't know. I just feel weird. I'm like, why? It feels like...
I think okay, where is Myanmar in relation to Australia?
Isn't Myanmar in Asia, if I'm not mistaken? I don't want to sound...
I mean, girl, I don't know. I don't know any geography. It's in Asia.
Okay.
Is it close to Australia is what I'm saying.
Oh.
That's my question. That's what I'm trying to figure out now, is where is it in relation to Australia? Okay, it's not mega close to Australia. Okay, so maybe they just prefer Oscar. I don't know.
I guess. But I understand why.
Yeah, this marks, to my understanding, the second time that a new species have been named after an F1 driver, because there was a new Dutch tulip that I guess was developed or something a couple years back, and they named it the Go Max.
Dutch what?
It's a tulip, and they named it Go Max.
Tulip. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
After Max Verstappen. It was very cute. It's a very pretty tulip too. But that's some good news. We also have other interesting news. I'm not going to call it good. I'm not going to call it bad because it's going to take time for us to see how it pans out. Gucci has been announced as Alpine's title partner moving forward from the 2027 season. So they will be Gucci F1, I think they'll be Gucci Racing Alpine F1 team.
That's a mouthful.
Which is a mouthful. I think they should just be Gucci Racing. Yes, they are set to race under the name Gucci Racing Alpine Formula One team from the start of next season. They will also be stepping away from their blue and pink livery to race in Gucci colors.
Okay, now they've lost me. I was actually here for the Gucci. Now they've lost me.
And so my main statement around that is, I can maybe accept that, even though I think the car will look ugly. I think it will look bad. But then I better see Pierre Gasly and whoever's racing alongside him, because Lord knows if Briatore is going to keep Franco Colapinto, I better see Gasly swagged out, head to toe Gucci. You better look good every week. We should have something to talk about every weekend.
I want him to put
every weekend.
Fiat, like a little Gucci Fiats.
Yeah. Every single weekend, there should be a Gucci fit for us to talk about.
And I mean, exquisite.
The team kits better be Gucci design. They better be getting made in those factories in Gucci.
Walk in with an old Italian uncle Gucci sweat.
Thank you. You need to be dripped out. Your team kit needs to be dripped out. A fashion house cannot be your title partner and you look like the way y'all are looking all the time. So I need them fitted out completely. That's what I need from the Gucci experience. So hopefully they give it to us. Lord knows if they will. But
I'm actually intrigued that Gucci chose Alpine, but I was like, the automatic team would be Ferrari, but I'm also Ferrari's name is so legendary. I'm sure they don't want to mess it up with this. They've already messed it up with HP.
Exactly. They already matched up with HP, but
YouTube.
also like it's to me it's like very simple. It's that the amount of money that you need to be a title sponsor probably differs by team. Like it's probably really expensive to swap out a title sponsor for everybody else. Girl, Alpine needs the money.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive to be an Alpine title sponsor, probably compared to a Ferrari, a Mercedes, a Red Bull. Like, so I think, yeah. Also, like, Ferrari was never going to completely compete in Gucci livery and Gucci branding, right? The way that Alpine is like, well, now we ride in Gucci out. Like they go with whatever their title sponsor's branding is. They don't have a branding of their own for Formula One. Like their blue and pink is because BWT is blue and pink.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're gonna go with whatever. So
have you seen the little mock livery that the Gucci that they announced?
I don't think that was real.
Oh, I know it wasn't real, but I thought
I don't think that came from them.
Oh, it came from like a Gucci
account? I think somebody AI'd it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not seeing any.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing like a bunch of Instagram posts about a potential livery, but I'm not seeing any from. Like, I'm seeing Kim Illman has this like Gucci fucking livery, but I'm trying to see if I see Alpine posting this. I don't see Alpine posting, hey, with this new with one of these livery pictures. Yeah. I see Kim Illman posting, and I think Kim Illman AI'd this.
Okay. Well,
or somebody AI'd it for him, I should say. I don't know if he has those kind of skills, I guess. But yes, I'm excited to see, because it's also dependent. I'm like, are they going to make it look like a leather bag with the Gucci label embossed on it everywhere? Because that's fucked. If they're going to make it like cool Italian themed, whatever, then maybe it'll be fine.
And you know what I would actually like to see? I think they've done it before, but just instead of a large clothing brand, a large fashion house, being like a title sponsor, I would like them to just be like the outfitters for a team.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what Tommy Hilfiger was for Mercedes, but they didn't leverage it anywhere near enough. The same way they're not leveraging their Adidas collab enough.
I want to see the team uniforms in the garage. I want them to be like actually fashionable, as fashionable as you can get in a garage. Yes. I want to see runway looks, head to toe. I mean, to be honest, most of these guys are fairly attractive. And some of them can serve looks if you just put them in an outfit.
And Pierre Gasly can serve a look. Put him in an outfit. He can serve a look.
So I would really like to see Gucci turn into more of like an outfitter for the team.
I think they will outfit them, because you should. You absolutely should. All right, our next piece of news relates to the F1 calendar. Bex, as I'm sure you're very aware, we lost 2 races this year, earlier on. The streets are saying that the F1 bosses want to add back at least 1 race, if not 2, and extend the season out to December 20th.
Listen, I understand that F1 is losing money. They lost money with these 2 races being canceled. But for me, extending the season to December 20th, I think is a little bit crazy.
I agree.
Personally, I just feel like Abu Dhabi is just a great race to end the season on. I don't know how they would fit it, if they would move Abu Dhabi or if they would just insert this new.
I think they said they were going to insert a race in one of the current bye weeks and then add a race at the end.
I just think that's a lot. These drivers, it's a lot for them, and also too, people who were going to, what was it, Saudi?
Yeah.
Saudi GP and what was it? Bahrain.
Yeah.
A lot of people who, like, if I had scheduled to go and this all, I'm not, no offense, I don't feel comfortable going back. Like, I'm not trying to go see, like, I love F1. I'm not trying to go back this quickly. I'd want to take a break. And also, too, that's a lot of work on the city. So a lot of these cities, like, they have, like, city planning. I don't know about the Middle East, but at least in the States we do. They have city planning. They've scheduled, you know, how the city's going to run for, like, a big event coming into town. Moving that around, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, potentially, like, Muslim holidays, it may fall on.
There's so many holidays.
And so, like, it's just difficult. And I think it was canceled. It was canceled for good reason. I think they can't, that the fact that they canceled was the right decision. I just think you gotta leave it alone.
Yeah.
And it sounds greedy, but no.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think it's good to keep extending the season. Mm-hmm. Like, it's long.
They have to be, they're back in testing, what, in February?
Yeah. Like, it's long, bro. Like, it's long. They have all these extra things they do.
You mean tell me they're racing 5 days before Christmas? No.
The Lord already turned his head down towards the cervix and you're still racing? That's crazy. That's crazy. It's a bit much for me.
It's a lot.
And I'm like, selfishly, girl, when are we going to record that podcast episode if the race is on the 20th? Selfishly for me, I'm going to have to hop on that and then go back to prepping for Christmas.
I'm going to be in the States, so.
It's a lot. Like, what are we doing here? So that will be interesting. But sadly, that was our last piece of fun news because we have bad news next. Bex, what have you been hearing about this Williams F1 leadership ownership situation?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Please.
So
I thought that's not where I thought you were going to go, but
no. And maybe you can bring up your bad news, I guess, that you thought I was going to bring up. Okay. Recently, there has been a legal battle going on regarding the Williams Formula One team due to allegations of sexism, racism, and fucking up their expenses. And one of the things that has been brought up in this is who's actually head honcho of Williams. Because there is the public-facing parent company, Doralton, of like Williams. They own Williams essentially, right? Mm-hmm. That company is in a legal dispute with Claudia Schwartz, who was fired and alleges that she was fired after raising concerns about sexism towards her, as well as racism that was shown by Doralton in relation to Lewis Hamilton's foundation, as well as artists that they were working with who were Black. Wycliffe Jean and Shaggy, to be specific. And she also made the claim that rather than it being Doralton and like the head of Doralton who's actually in charge, that Peter Dupuytren, who's a Jersey billionaire, very like Peter Thiel, Donald Trump, like right-wing billionaire vibes, she was alleging that like, no, this guy is actually the one pulling all of the strings of the company. He's the one pushing these cultural situations of them being like, fuck women, fuck Black people, right? That all of this is being puppeteered by this New Jersey guy, and Doralton is acting like their head guy is actually running Williams F1 when that's not what's going on. They are, of course, accusing her of like money things, and that's why they're saying that they fired her. Right? So they're claiming that she took $7 million in expenses and inflated fees and this and that. And I think they're also claiming that she was having some sort of like affair with like the person who looks over the expenses. It was a whole thing. But there's a whole lot of situation going on here in which we have this like very, very, very rich right-wing Jersey billionaire guy. We have this woman that the company is suing, who she's also obviously suing back for the sexism and the racism. And it's very strange because there was also very weird stories written about her a few months after the company sued her. Business F1 magazine published the weirdest fucking story ever, headlined "A Vixen Who Infiltrated Williams," which, like,
okay,
bitch, what's wrong with you? And they said, dark-haired, displaying a vixen-like attractiveness combined with extreme confidence, she uses her feminine wiles to get a foot through the door. And when she has a man in her sights, they'd better look out, because when in charm mode, she has an irresistible aura. And I'm like, girl, this is a legal case. You don't know none of that? What the fuck are you talking about? Which to me feels like, who planted this story with you? Business F1 magazine? Was it? Who was it? Who was it? It's all very weird, very strange. And it appears that Doralton planted that story and then did other, which, I mean, if Doralton planted that story, then her claims are corroborated. That's like one of the most sexist sentences I've ever seen a random magazine print about some random businesswoman. Like, what are we talking about here? Even if she did sleep with the guy who runs the expenses and embezzle the money from that, none of those things then make her some vixen man eater. It sounds like she was just fucking the guy who runs the expenses. Like, none of it's very strange. It's all very strange. So there's an ongoing legal battle, as well as then people obviously leaking to the press that, like, yeah, she's right, they're wilding over there at Williams, and they have this whole like la-di-da-di-da weird Williams and great, and like that's not what's going on at all. There's also something about business operations that Williams is conducting in Bermuda. So that one confuses me. And then the other notable thing is that Peter Dupoutrion, the main thing that I think is picking up traction amongst like the fans, not the main thing because there's many things, is that he had some decent amount of say over marketing, and like this is part of the interactions that the woman who is countersuing had with Dupoutrion, which is that he was insistent that Williams Racing Team not be marketed to African Americans and the LGBTQ community, and he had complaints about not allowing participation to donate and he did not want Williams to donate or support UNICEF alongside all the other F1 teams for Ukraine war victims.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So that's crazy.
It sounds like she was hitting the nail on the head.
Yes. So that's crazy. But it's obviously a mess. So we'll see what happens with all of this. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yes. Here we have another one. Which was that apparently Dupoutrion, who again is supposedly head honcho, that he was at a race, Austin 2022. And Williams was running its first like fan experience event. And it was a performance by Shaggy, Wyclef Jean, and Robin Thicke. And Dupoutrion was complaining about the demographic that was attracted to the event, and that those performers, the black ones, were hanging out in the Paddock Club over the weekend. He was like, he didn't like the demographic that they were attracting with such activities.
People in the garage at Williams, now I think about it.
No. Because remember, that's why Red Bull's one black engineer would get so much camera time. Because I think he was one of maybe like two, maybe. And if it was a two, it was a hidden two. It was a non-publicized two. So yeah, not good. Not good. Apparently, after that, he then had a furious video call where he made it clear that this is not the quality of people he and the board want to see in the Paddock Club. And then he also said that it was embarrassing that Wyclef Jean and Shaggy, not Robin Thicke, Wyclef Jean and Shaggy dared to come to the table of Dupoutrion and the other investors to thank them for the invitation.
Oh, so politeness.
Yes. Yes.
Graciousness.
Yes. Yes. He also reversed the lady's plan to market to the LGBTQ community, because they wanted to do, their thing. And then he said, it says, Mr. Dupoutrion instructed the plaintiff as to the changes he wanted for the vehicle, because she wanted to do like a little bit of pride livery, concerning stating that they can't have any activations in the LGBTQ community because the Saudis would not accept us, and that they still kill gays and lesbians there, and that we won't support this LGBTQ nonsense anyway. So.
Okay. This sounds kind of crazy. Well, do you want?
And there's so much more. He also did some weird shit with Lewis's fucking foundation where I don't know if he successfully did, but he wanted Williams to not join Lewis's commission, despite many other teams. He said he would rather sell the team before he let Williams Racing become part of the Hamilton Commission.
It's like actually disappointing that still 2026 we're still seeing these.
Oh, they also used to call him our dear leader. What does that mean?
I'm not gonna say what it sounds like, but it sounds a
what
little.
That mean?
A little bit.
What that mean? That's we see each other. We know what's going on. But this is a mess. This is a disaster. It's a mess. Fuck that guy. That's what I'm saying.
Really.
But that was all my news. What was your bad news that you thought I was going to bring up?
My bad news has to do with the one, the only Mohammed bin Sulayem.
Oh, what's going on? I didn't even know anything's going on with him.
He is proposing removal of term limits for the FIA president.
I did see this actually. So
I think under the current rules, it's 4 years and you can serve up to 3 terms, which is like a total of 12 years.
Yes.
So he is proposing a change, and it's going to be discussed and voted at the next General Assembly of the FIA, and they are expecting it to be passed by the members.
This is always the thing that baffles me about term limit discussions.
Yes.
In general.
Yeah.
Basic logic would say the person who will be impacted by the term limit cannot propose no term limits. That's basic logic, right? You as FIA president should not be allowed to put forth a proposal that changes your term limit.
Nope.
Because oh wow, MBS wants to stay FIA president forever? Duh! Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. And the other thing that has always baffled me is that, like, general body members of groups where they then vote for them to have no term limits. I'm like, okay, so you're banking on you being good with MBS forever.
Forever.
You're banking on him never making a decision you don't fucking like.
And so,
because then what triggers an election for the FIA? Is it a vote of no confidence? Are you feeling good that you can get a vote of no confidence up in this bitch?
We just had an issue with his election where he ran unopposed because supposedly no one was eligible to stand.
Exactly. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Every single day, more and more, I go, F1, please abandon the FIA. Okay? Because when this bitch ain't got no money, he gonna leave. And they're gonna maybe get a vote of no confidence through if F1 leaves and is like, well, what the fuck doesn't even make any goddamn sense? So
I didn't realize that this term limit is actually fairly new. The previous FIA president before MBS He was one who put the term limits in place.
Yes.
Before him, so 2 presidents ago, Max Mosley served as president from 1993 to 2009, and he only left after he got into it with F1 teams.
Yeah.
So I could understand why some people are like, oh, let's just go back to what we've been doing, the term limits.
MBS is the wrong president to do it with. The man is crazy. Like, I don't know how much more crazy he has to publicly be for it to be like he is unstable. Like, he doesn't make.
So I know that there are some people, they say like a spokesperson pointed to like the NFL and saying that like Roger Goodell has served since the early 2000s. I forgot.
Are these people crazy?
Mid
They
2000s.
pointed to Roger Goodell.
They're like, he's transformed the NFL into like this global product. Like they do games overseas now, several games overseas. But then someone in the article I was reading, they were also pointed to like the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and their president actually rejected the chance to stay longer than 12 years. He's like, nope. He's like, the organization is best served when they have change in leadership, which I totally agree. And so what also happened?
The thought of pointing at Roger Goodell as the example for why you should get to rule forever is like laughable to me, because like you couldn't have picked like a guy people like. Like, you could have picked, like, wow, look at this guy who's been leading this thing for 50 years and everybody. Roger Goodell? That's the guy you're going, yep, the famously hated NFL commissioner. That's the guy that I think, like, please, bro. Like,
I truly believe having a change in leadership helps the organization, whatever the organization is, not end up being stagnant. Because there are only so many ideas, changes that MBS can implement.
Yeah. Also, like, the weird self-importance placed upon that level of leadership of like, you have to look me in my face. You cannot look me straight in my face and tell me that you, MBS, genuinely believe that the idea to hold overseas NFL games came from Roger Goodell's brain and mouth. You don't believe that, and I know you don't believe that. So why are we lying now? You know that man didn't come up with that. You know that didn't come from him. That maybe came from the board. Maybe. Like, in all actuality, probably came from some actual, like, market acquisition R&D people, because that's their actual jobs. Robert Goodell did not come up with the actual game plan to hold overseas things. He probably just went, I want more money and I want to be in another market. And then somebody else went, da 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 da. Like, you're not convincing me that Roger, by just pure brain, let's please be real. Like, MBS, this is a bad example. The IOC was a much better example.
Yeah, much better.
Like, what are we doing here? MBS upsets me. I try to forget that he exists, quite frankly. Because I can't.
Don't does stupid shit like this that I remember. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's here. And maybe one day we won't have to deal with him, fingers crossed. But all right. Do you want to get into this glorious, glorious race weekend? My general note for this race weekend is I have always been on team sprint races, not because I think that they are particularly always enjoyable and intriguing, but because I am a content person. I love watching things. And so if somebody says, hey, do you want an extra hour of content to watch? My answer is always going to be yes. So my point for sprint races has always been, I like watching things. And I don't watch practice, so replacing practice with sessions I will watch will always benefit me.
Okay.
However, they gotta spread these out. I can't have this. Haven't we had 3 sprint races in 6 weekends? Like, I get that we were supposed to be on weekend 8 by now, but that's still too many.
8.
That's still way too many.
I'm so sorry.
What do you mean we have 3 in the next 14?
You should what? One every what? How do you split? If you split up into 5, this is 5 or 6?
We race for like 10 months of the year. Do one like every couple of races.
Every 5 races.
And the problem is, I think that they decided which races they thought would be good sprint races.
And
then like the calendar falls how the calendar falls. And I'm like, ultimately, you need to accept that there is nothing that really makes a sprint race inherently going to be good or going to be bad, except for that you probably don't want a sprint race at like Monaco, you know?
Vegas.
So my whole thing is I'm like, split up the race calendar into 6 chunks.
Yeah.
Find the race that has the most overtaking opportunities in that chunk. That's the sprint race. We should never have sprint races so close together. I'm like drained mentally from having so many sprint races so close together. And as I always say for a sprint weekend, Gatorade, you should care about your bag more. It upsets me. Jack shit done. Nothing good. Nothing from Gatorade. Once again, they disappoint me.
It's been difficult.
Is Austin a sprint race?
It has been. I don't know if it's a sprint race.
Like, I'm trying to figure out if maybe Gatorade's saving something notable for the USGP. But if not, then like, dump the Gatorade on these men's heads. What are we doing?
It's not.
Okay, so they're just wasting our time. That's fine.
Silverstone is our next. We are going to have 4 sprint races before we go into summer break.
That's too many.
Then we're gonna have 2. They chose Vandervoort?
Oh, that's crazy. But that's unfortunate.
Singapore as a sprint weekend. Don't get me wrong, I think that's a great sprint, but
Singapore is already too long of a weekend for me as a Max Verstappen fan. Extending the amount of time I have to watch Max Verstappen on the Singapore track is painful.
Singapore is also, that's a hard race for them. The race is just hard. Why would you add a sprint as well?
It's because they hate them. Like, it's literally because they hate them.
To be honest, I actually really think US should be one that they just kind of keep as a sprint. I think Coda is a good track.
Yeah, because there's also so much stuff to do.
And I think also more so than Miami.
Oh, absolutely.
I really think Vegas is a sprint track.
The timing is already so weird for Vegas. Like, it's like there is nobody who is well positioned to watch Vegas except for like people in Australia.
And also like the timing. Yeah, the timing of Vegas is so bad. Like, how would you fit in a sprint and a race?
Because they already have to do it like a little bit before normal because it has to be at night on Saturday. And
the Europeans are all upset and on.
Exactly. Only the Australians are happy. I mean, I'm fucking pissed too. I'm up at 1 a.m. watching my own country's fucking race. This is ridiculous. Like, I'm pissed too. I'm with them. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
True.
But let's hop into sprint quali. Notably, the Ferraris brought no upgrades this weekend for some reason. Everybody else brought upgrades. That ended up being fine for them. Shout out them.
It worked. We'll get to it. But
I think it ended up being fine-ish for them. But you know, we'll see. But the other thing is apparently Liam's car got fucked in FP1. So unfortunately,
when I watch especially like the lead up into like quali, I actually put on mute. So I was watching it and I'm just like, why is he not in a racing suit? And then I was just like, it's Liam. I really don't care. And then I found out later why he wasn't.
No, literally, it's something else. But sorry, I got nasally. But that starts off our Q1. Honestly, I thought this was a good Q1. We had Max fighting for his little spot, Lewis fighting. They were doing some back and forth bops. So that's always good. I love to see that. And then Alonso crashes. So they get a red flag. Which, unfortunate. But of note with their red flaggery. I always personally love when there's a red flag just close enough to the end of the session that they can go out. Because I like watching them all scramble to try and get to the line and da 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 da. I always think that's very fun. So Alonso crashing brings out the red flag. They end up scrambling. Nobody of surprise goes out in Q1.
I think everything stayed the same. If I'm not mistaken.
We knew who was going out in Q1. Let's be real. Okay.
But also, the thing I was confused about was some of the people who were trying to do another lap. Like, why was Lewis out there to do another lap? I was like, you have good timing. But then I think they mentioned towards the end of Q1 that, or after Q1, that he wanted to test out the track again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like oftentimes the sprint, and this is the other thing that makes it so that like the sprint is unfortunately not what it all could be, is like, because it's not the race and it's not really like a heavy hitting points opportunity, oftentimes, unless you know that you're going to do really well, everybody else treats it like a data session.
Yeah.
And so you're not really getting great racing out of anybody but the top 10. So which is unfortunate. But to nobody's surprise, the Cadillacs, the Astons, and an Alpine, they dropped. We all knew that was happening. I believe Alex Albon also didn't do sprint quali, because I'm not seeing him in my sprint qual.
He was out. So lost an out.
Rip our boy. Anyway, we get into Q2. I thought the Q2 was actually decent. I thought it was a decent time. Nothing to write home about, but I have notes. But my main note is that anytime that we have an F1 track near water, I'm freaked out because I'm worried about a freak accident occurring where they somehow blast through the barriers and then they're in the water. That's spooky scary to me. So I don't like when they're near any bodies of water.
It enters my mind.
It enters my mind every time they went around that fucking corner right against the water. I was like, what if there's a freak accident? Like, what if we have a Zhou style crash at this corner where he's just rolling and flipping? What the fuck do we do?
Okay, maybe we should calm down. Maybe we could start with that.
I don't know. It stresses me out. I don't like seeing them near bodies of water, but that's besides the point. That's my own anxieties. I don't need to project onto these guys.
Yeah.
Lewis once again doing good. And of course the Mercedes come in and they do what they do. So they kind of spoiled our Q2 fun. Max wasn't doing great. Hated that for my king. But again, we had the usual suspects, the Audis, the remaining Alpine, and the Haas F1 team.
I thought it was funny that Alonso actually still made it to SQ2.
I did think that was fun. I did think that was funny. But I think they deleted a lap of his.
Alonso?
Maybe? I'm seeing that he got out in Q1. Or maybe it's because he didn't set a Q2 time. They're saying he's out in Q1.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
It was Lawson, Albon, Bottas, Gasly, Stroll, Perez that were out in SQ.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Alrighty. And then we get to Q3. Once again, Lewis and Max always stress me out. I don't really understand what was up with Charles this weekend. I feel like overall he had a weird weekend of like putzing around slightly below where I would expect him to be.
His radio during the race was actually toward the end of the race. Actually,
no, iconic. That one's going in the Hall of Fame.
Charles actually, low key, has some of the best radio.
Oh, of course, he's that guy.
And he's so most of the time he's so frustrated, but it's just perfection.
Yes. But to nobody's great surprise, George gets pole, Kimi gets second, the McLarens slot in third and fourth with Lando in front of Oscar, then the Ferraris, then the Red Bulls, then Arvind and Carlos rounding out the top 10. And my last note of quali is I hate seeing Sainz happy. So
my last note was, damn, Lewis was having a great quali and left nothing to show for it.
Yeah. But he had a good weekend. So for that
weekend, I had SQ sprint quality.
Yes,
in my own opinion.
No, I agree with that. The sprint, quite frankly, I have very little to say in terms of lap by lap commentary
Yeah.
and a medium amount to say about overall story of the sprint. Before I get into overall story of the sprint, my first thought, and what dominated at least 5 minutes of the sprint for me, is when they showed Lewis's mom in the Ferrari garage. I forgot how white Lewis's mom was. Like,
That statement is
you
that.
see Lewis's daddy, and then you see Lewis. And Lewis is only a little bit lighter than his daddy. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's like a Mediterranean British woman. Like, you know, like she's got a good tan going, but like she's British. And they showed his mom, and I went, oh, I forgot.
An idiot.
I forgot about that. Shout out to his mom. His mom seems lovely. But I just always forget that he has a true British white mother. But love that she was there. She was slaying. That was what honestly dominated my brain for like the first few minutes of the sprint. What then spent the rest of my brain dominating was what the fuck were Kimmy and George doing? And I'm of two minds about it, because I do think a lot of the fuck ups that were occurring were simply down to a like frustration and lack of experience from both of them on being in a genuine championship fight, right? Because there's one thing to have the George Russell mentality of like, oh, I could get the chip, and there's a whole other thing to actually be in this fight for your life.
Yeah.
Right? And for the first time, they're both actually in this fight for their lives. And while I do think that many of the mistakes made that made good racing were down to a lack of experience, a little bit for me, it was interesting to see the sort of flipped switch for Kimmy, because I think in the sprint, it was Kimmy making a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
And he came out of it, as we know from his radios, really frustrated at George and at the team, feeling like we were doing happy, happy families before, and now you're telling me George is allowed to fuck me? Bet.
Okay.
Because it feels like the sprint was a lot of like him accidentally going off the track or him like fucking something up. And the race was a lot of like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. One of us is going to back out. And if it's not me, let's see, bitch. And,
let me ask
you know?
Do you think that George was in the wrong?
I actually think that almost every single incident that they had, I would have chalked down to like a racing incident where, like, for example, I don't think George should have been penalized for anything that I saw occur on the track. However, I can see why if I'm Kimmy, I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You know? I'm like, that for me is where I'm at, where I'm like, to me, it's a racing incident. We're in a racing incident. There's no reason to penalize you, but I can totally see why I, as the person you did this to, would be annoyed. Like, but that doesn't mean that you get a penalty because I'm frustrated with this thing.
But I personally saw it. I was like, they're racing. What is it Kimmy want George to do? Give him space?
Yeah.
Give him opportunity?
I think he wants him to give him space.
I was actually frustrated with Kimmy because I was like, your age is showing right now. And your inexperience is showing, because I don't understand. Like, and I'm not one to jump up and defend George, but what did you want George to do? Truly, like, when I see people like shitting on George this weekend, I was just like, I don't understand how you come away viewing that unless you're just a big Kim Antonelli fan and you thought George should have just not defended, not been racing, and just given him road to just pass him and win.
George did anything wrong in his defense. I'm a Max Verstappen fan. I don't really care if you push this bitch off the road, right? I don't think he did anything wrong in his defense. The reason why I'll absolutely give Kimi Antonelli his frustration is because I want you to look me in my eye and tell me if Kimmy did that to George, then George wouldn't have been on that bitch instantly on the radio. Of course he would have been.
But then at the same time, I would have been like, George, what did you want Kimmy to do?
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm not annoyed at his frustration because I think it is an understandable frustration, even if it is not a frustration that is actionable, right? You're frustrated because you just got pushed off the track, but you got to get over that because, of course, this bitch is going to push you off the track. You know, it's like, we got to move on. I understand why you're frustrated, but like, let's keep it pushing. The same way with like 99% of the incidents that George finds him in, I'm like, I can see why that's frustrating, but you need to shut the fuck up and let's keep going. Because like, it was a nothing burger of a frustration. Somebody closed the door on you, somebody nudged you, like, yes, they will do that. And you have to move on. You got to keep it going, right? And I think that in the sprint, Kimmy struggled to move on because he was very frustrated, but I also think he was very frustrated because oftentimes, I think this happens a lot when you are in a Kimmy Antonelli position and you are the younger, inexperienced second driver to this team guy. You probably get a lot of like, we need to operate as a team. We give each other space. We make sure that we're not coming into contact with each other. We like, you get a lot of that probably when you come in. And you're doing that. Kimmy does that. Kimmy, even when he like gives George a little rustle, he doesn't really like do that much to George, quite frankly, normally, before this weekend. So I think for Kimmy, he's like, yes, this is within the bounds of normal F1 racing, but we are constantly being told to like, that your teammate deserves a little extra room.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, so I'm just one of the bitches then. Then you're just one of the bitches too. I'm gonna fight you the way I would fight Lando, the way I fight Oscar. I don't give a fuck if Oscar crashes out of this race. Why do I care about that? So why am I supposed to care if you crash out about this race? You didn't give a fuck when you were about to push me off. So that's fine. Now we don't give a fuck. And that's like, I think for Kimmy, at the end of the race, Kimmy was like, if what we're doing is we're just another one of those bitches, that's fine. But that's how I'm gonna race from now on. And you see it in the race where Kimmy's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna dive bomb you. I don't give a fuck if you crash out. Like, you didn't care about me. Why would I care about you? Like, it's very clearly like a mindset shift of like, he was probably being told constantly that you cannot have contact with George. We need to make sure we give each other a little bit of extra room. We need like da-da-da-da. And then it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to do that and you're going to race me like I'm everybody else, I'm also going to race you like you're everybody else. Yeah, like you're racing me like I'm a bitch in the street. I'm going to race you like you're a bitch in the street. And now we're even. And it's fine. Like, that's okay. But like, now I know.
And to be honest, I feel that way. I feel like it's fine too.
Yeah.
So that, I think for me, it's just sort of the criticism of George that I just sort of have issues with. But I also feel like I have no issues with how Kimmy raced him in the race.
I loved Kimmy's racing in the race. I have thoughts about the race that are great because I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I did as well.
The only other thing, besides the back and forth and the Mercedes fighting with each other the whole time, is that Hodger retired and then unretired because they wanted more data. So,
yeah, I didn't know you could technically do that.
Mm-hmm. Perez used to do it all the time.
Who?
Perez used to do it all the time to avoid a penalty. Because he would retire, have a penalty, and they'd send him back out so that he could serve his penalty, and then put him back.
Okay.
So, any other sprint thoughts?
I don't know what happened with Lewis at the end of the race, the second to last lap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He was in fourth, then all of a sudden he was in sixth. I was just like, what happened? Norris caught up to him and Charles. So
I think he had a fuck up in the
I think he like grazed the wall.
Yeah.
On like the second, or like I think it was before the second to last lap, but Lando and Charles caught up to him on the second to last lap. I was like, oh. Yeah.
So we end up with George winning, and then Lando and Kimmy make up the sprint podium. It's a fake podium. They have Oscar, Charles, Lewis, Max, Arvin, Colapinto, and Carlos Sainz running up the top 10. But obviously Franco and Carlos don't get any points because it's a sprint, so it's only the top 8 who get points.
I was gonna ask, has Mercedes lost a race? But they lost Miami Sprint. I think that's only.
Yes, that is the only session that they have lost.
Just
Um,
annoying.
all right. Let's talk regular quali. I'm not gonna lie. I again have overall notes. I don't really have Q by Q notes, but my overall note is that Isaac did really good. He did great. He got 7th, right behind Max.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pull up my notes.
That's okay. And like as a Red Bull driver, that's really the best you can do. If you're right behind Max, you've done your job.
Oh yeah. I thought it was Charles was quite disappointing.
Yes. Again, Charles was just like operating slightly under what I was expecting him to do.
And I think he had a kind of a collapse.
I think he ended up being fine, but I think that he ended up being fine because 2 of the leading people DNF'd.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. He ended up having an overall decent race. His quality was kind of.
Yeah, I agree.
I was excited to see Lindblad made it to Q3.
Did a good job.
I was actually really surprised Colapinto made it to Q3.
I also was surprised he dragged that Alpine to Q3. I don't know how he did that, but that was crazy.
Audi looking. They didn't.
Neither fine.
They neither one made it to Q3, but they're doing better.
They're doing better. Yeah. Hulkenberg was really close to Colapinto. 0.03 of a second. So very close to making it into Q3. I believe. Yeah, 300 seconds. I am interested to see what the end of year synopsis on adding an 11th team is, because their whole concern was that an 11th team would just be such a flop that they basically wouldn't be there. And I think the only thing saving Cadillac from, like, you are such a flop that you're not in the sport is that Aston Martin, an established team, is also such a flop that they're not in the sport. So it's like you look better by comparison, because it's like, well, this team that's been here for a bop and a half is doing just as bad.
I was just about to, before you start talking, I was just about to ask, like, what is going on with Aston Martin? Adrian Newey.
I don't know.
I don't, like, they have, like, as much of a big deal was made of Adrian Newey moving to Aston Martin, I expected wonders and miracles to transpire. And it seems like, I don't know if it's a leadership thing, but then again, Adrian Newey is team principal, or maybe it's principal. I don't know. Who knows? He doesn't know. None of us know.
None of us know.
But they are just week after. Do they have any points?
That is hold up, I'm checking. I'll check right now. No. Them and Cadillac have no points. They're actually last. They're behind Cadillac. So that's...
Audi has 2 points. Aston Martin has a world champion and has a big old goose egg.
It's
bad. Crazy. That's kind of crazy. Bad. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. Overall, it was a decent quality. But I don't think there was anything like crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it was a decent quality. It like went how I expected. It really does hurt me in my meow meows that our best bet for harming Mercedes is McLaren, and I don't think that I want that.
The thing I would struggle with is I'm okay with Mercedes winning if Kimi wins.
Yes,
as much as I don't dislike George to the degree that you dislike George, but if I had to choose between the two, I'd root for Kimi.
Here's my problem with George in like a very short summarized way.
Here we go.
If you're gonna be a hypocrite, I want you to make it hard for me. That's my beef. Is if you're going to be a hypocrite, I want you to make it a little bit harder for me. Okay. Right? I watch reality TV for most of my day. I love a hypocrite, a liar, a delusional person. Like, I can really appreciate that character on my screen. But they make it compelling and interesting for me normally on my reality TV screen. George just throws rocks and hide hands in like the most straightforward ways possible. I'm like, you're not even making it like difficult for us to parse through your own hypocrisy, which is like what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Like George is like, well, I should be able to throw things and get frustrated in the moment because this is a naturally frustrating experience. But if anybody else does it, it's disrespectful to the children that are watching. And I'm like, well, George, like, what if you just accepted that you're a person and these other people are people, and then you can move on with your day? That's my beef with George. Like, the ways in which he's a hypocrite are so straightforward that I'm like, it's lazy. It's lazy. You're going about it in like such a lazy way. I want you to gaslight me a little better. I want you to put your back into it.
Okay.
Just a little bit more.
Okay.
That's all that I'm saying. That's my main beef with George, is that I just think that he's not a good... He's a villainous F1 character, and he's not good at making it fun. And he also doesn't know that that's who he is. And that also frustrates me.
I don't know how to respond to this.
That also frustrates me. But let's talk about the actual Grand Prix.
Yes.
Let's get into it. My initial thought off the rip: McLaren, dumb. I wasn't even in Canada.
Let's not even go that far. What was going on with these formation laps?
Okay.
Like on the track, like 2-3 times.
Yes.
I was like, what is going on? And then I was surprised because I know I've seen this before, but I didn't think they would do it. Why were they're doing formation laps, but then reducing the number of laps for the race?
Yes.
I've always seen that when it's like bad weather, but that wasn't necessarily the case this time.
So the reason is the cars are fueled for a certain amount of laps. So even though a formation lap is slower, like if they were to go like, well, we're gonna do however they ended up doing like what?
3?
2 formation laps? 3?
Let's do. Yeah.
We're gonna do 2 formation laps, and we're gonna but we're gonna keep the number of laps in the race. When you get to the end and you go like, oh well, you have less than your 1 liter of fuel you're supposed to keep on board, the teams could easily go, well, we fueled for XYZ. How are we supposed to know how many formation laps? Like, so you always have to keep the total number of laps set so that you can hold them all to the same standard of like, therefore you must have this amount left over. You are well aware of the conditions under which this is going to occur. Like, you are supposed to, like, to push the accountability back on the teams of like, you manage your own fuel. You can't come to us and say like, hey, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But it was just really interesting because I was watching the prep for the race, right? I watched the first couple minutes leading up to it. And I was like, okay, I can see that they think it's going to rain. They think it might rain, right? To me, it was abundantly clear that even if it might rain, it was not going to be heavy enough or soon enough to justify starting on inters.
Yep.
For multiple reasons. One, not a good tire to start on. You don't get that grippy grip, that soft grip on the track. And two, if you start on inters, you're basically banking on consistent rain within a lap or two. Because there's no other... Didn't they say that inters are like 20 seconds slower a lap? Or like they are like ridiculously slower.
Yeah.
It's a lot slower. You might as well take a pit stop every single lap if you continue to race on them. And so like that for me, I'm like, I would not put inters on unless it's actively raining. And to see the rest of the grid unveil their tires and nobody else is on inters, to have both of your drivers, we heard it a lot from Oscar. I'm sure Lando was doing it too because he's not a complete idiot. Like, Oscar was on there being like, hey guys, we need to switch these tires. Well, no, we think it's going to rain soon. And Oscar's like, well, it's not raining right now.
I've done 2 formation laps. I've done
2 formation laps. We need to pit. And also, pit during the formation lap.
And he said it.
Go into the pit. Oscar was like, please bring me into the fucking pits.
I know, I thought, because the first formation lap, I was like, okay, cool. The second one, I was like, are they trying to give McLaren an advantage to make him go into the pit? That's what I thought. I was like, oh, they're trying to help.
No. What's his face's car wasn't off. Stroll.
Yeah,
not Stroll.
Yeah.
Lindblad's car wasn't off yet.
Yeah. No, that's what I thought at first. I was just like, they're trying to help you, McLaren. They're trying to help McLaren. Take it.
And the thing is, and I've always been super curious about this because we've seen some F1 drivers do it, but we know that most of them don't. Realistically, what are they going to do to you, Oscar, if you pull into the pits? What are they going to do to you?
I actually thought for a minute that's what he was going to do.
I thought he was going to be like, I'm pulling. Because we've seen them do it where they're like, I am pulling into the pits. You better have some fucking tires ready to go. Like, my car is going to be in the pits. We could lose this fucking race if y'all want with me sitting here waiting for tires. Or you can bring out the tires. And that would have been like, bring out the tires. Now. Because starting from the pit lane is way better than taking that pit stop. Like, it fucked them. They were donezo from lap 1. Like, it ultimately didn't even really matter that Lando DNF'd because I'm like, you were fucked the whole time. So, very interesting start. We had multiple formation laps. And then they got to it. Something was up with Alex Albon that my brain is not, like, really remembering right now. And my note is just that Alex Albon is fucked. I think that his car was fucked up and he kept pitting, so that's really unfortunate. You know, and for me, this was also just like a messy race, but not in a particularly like, oh, they were being messy, but just like people are going onto the grass and people are bumping wheels and just a consistent.
So what was the highlight for the race? Give me a highlight and a low light.
Okay. I think my highlight is as a Lewis Max fan. As a Lewis Max fan, it was glorious to see them on the podium again. They're the combination that's been on the podium the most times together. The most winningest duo together. So I loved seeing them on the podium together. I also loved, and this is a point that I saw made that I thought was really funny, which is we actually had some good ethical wheel-to-wheel between Max and Lewis this race. And I think, and this might make them like him more, this might make them like him less, okay? I think that there is a misconception amongst my fellow Lewis fans that Max Verstappen can't do ethical wheel-to-wheel. And I think that is a gross misunderstanding of Max Verstappen as a person. As we saw this weekend, Max can absolutely do ethical wheel-to-wheel.
He doesn't want to.
Right? He doesn't want to. He's like, I don't have to. He's like, I don't have to do that to win, so why am I going to put the extra energy to do ethical wheel-to-wheel if I don't have to do ethical wheel-to-wheel? You know? And that might make you like him more, that might make you like him less, but I think it is a funny misunderstanding whenever they're like, he can never do ethical wheel-to-wheel with Lewis. I'm like, he absolutely can. He just knows he doesn't have to. The same way, he knows he doesn't have to do ethical wheel-to-wheel with Lando, for completely different reasons, actually. I think that he, in general, doesn't do ethical wheel-to-wheel unless he absolutely has to, because that is extra time and effort to do ethical wheel-to-wheel, and if he knows, based on the rule books, they're not going to actually penalize him for it, he's not going to do it. I think with Lando and other certain racing drivers that he does not do ethical wheel-to-wheel with, I think it is a little bit of that and a lot of bit of like, I both know the rules will allow me to do this, and I also know that your racing will allow me to do this. So, like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Right? So I loved seeing the ethical wheel-to-wheel. I appreciated some ethical wheel-to-wheel from my boys. I loved them hoisting Kimmy up on their shoulders. The little boy king, loved that for him. My low for this race. I think my low for this race is that I was hoping that we would get some sort of like good good battling between Russell and Antonelli. And
Yeah,
I feel like we got good battling, but we were getting good battling that would then be solved by like some ridiculous fuck up on somebody's part instead of just like a little nudge on the wheel to wheel or like somebody genuinely not making a corner versus like complete miss mowing the grass fuck up. Like, I don't know. I like those every once in a while, but I think I would have loved it if Kimmy had been in first when George DNF'd. That would have made it more satisfying for me personally.
Okay.
And yeah, to speak very briefly and minimally about George's DNF, I mean his engine just gave out, right? Like he just got fucked. Him and Norris's engines both just like kaput. So I thought that was very interesting that both the Mercedes engines went kaput. Huh? No, McLaren has a Mercedes engine in them. I thought it was interesting that both the engines that went kaput were Mercedes. No, you're fine. I thought it was interesting that they both went kaput. I, once again, as I said, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. I think George is allowed to be frustrated and upset, and tossing his headrest is the least of my fucking concerns, because who gives a fuck? You're fighting for the championship and you just DNF'd, and you know that was a huge ass swing to your teammate. I think he's allowed to be frustrated. And I think that the day that he accepts that other people will also have out of character, in the moment reactions to things, his life will be better. That's what I have to say on George. The other thing of note that isn't really about this race, but I think will be very fun for future races, I believe that this is the last race that Mercedes' engines are allowed to use their little compression ratio bullshit.
Are you sure?
That's what I'm hearing from the streets. I'm hearing from the streets that Monaco will be the first race without the Mercedes compression situation.
Well, that will be...
Let me see. Mercedes compression ratio.
So, that would... I mean, but Monaco is just such a...
Yeah, because after June 1st, Mercedes engines will have to be updated to be compliant in both cold and hot conditions.
Oh, okay, then we shall see. But Monaco's not a good race to like.
No, of course not.
Who cares? Monaco is just really luck of the draw. I really feel like Monaco is really whoever's just lucky that weekend. But I think you kind of took my highlight for this week. I really like seeing Max and Lewis race. I really just like seeing Lewis get on the podium. One thing I was thinking was last race in Miami GP. I was like, I think I made a note that said, oh, look at Max and Lewis racing. But it's for 6. This is really sad. So to see them actually competing for second...
A podium spot?
Yeah, podium spot. It was actually really nice.
It was lovely.
Is it kind of an honorable mention, but also kind of part of my low light? I actually like seeing a whole bunch of DNFs. I think it keeps the...
I love it.
The only thing I didn't like was it wasn't really due to racing. Most, if not all, of the DNFs were like mechanical issues.
Exactly. Here's my perfect ratio.
That's where I was just like, I don't like that.
My perfect ratio every race is I want one mechanical DNF. And ideally, every 3 races, that mechanical DNF is like in like a little bit of a dramatic fashion. You know, maybe it is a Carlos Sainz style brake fire, or maybe it is, you know, like they're racing and then they lose their engine puts out and they go across the grass, right? Safely, of course, always safely.
Yes,
no injury.
No life of things.
One mechanical DNF per race. And then I would like at least 2 racing-based DNFs. Ideally, every couple of races, it is a collision that takes both of them out. And then most races, it is, you know, a collision where one of them's out, the other one gets a penalty, it shakes things up a little bit. You know, I like diversity. I like a mix.
I agree. That's kind of what I was looking for.
I like a mix. And I think that at least twice a year, we need a red flag DNF that causes a red flag again without injury, I'm just thinking like debris or like a wing. A couple wings are in the middle of the track.
I agree. Yeah, it was just too many. I was just like, you can't even enjoy people going out because it was just sort of, I guess the garage's fault, the car's fault.
Yeah.
I
think the other thing for me,
like the whole Checo thing. I was like, how? Like you just see like his wheel just collapse.
No, that was
in there.
That was ridiculous. I don't even really understand how that happened. The thing is, while I agree with you that like I don't really want to see 5 mechanical DNFs, I will say I think part of what makes mechanical DNFs unsatisfying to the viewer is that so often the mechanical DNFs are them pulling into the pits. Me personally, I will never be satisfied by a DNF where they're able to pull into the pits. That's not fun. That doesn't shake the things up. I want safety cars. I want virtual safety cars. I want red flags.
I like a safety car because it switches things up. People are changing strategies. Oh, this is happening. Let's pivot. Let's change tires. Yeah. Let's do. Exactly. I like it. It creates a little chaos. It makes everyone think on their toes a little bit. Let's change it up.
Exactly. So I always am pro safety car. I want a safety car to come out, and so that's my personal opinion always.
A little trick for my highlight was Charles toward the end of the race.
Yes.
when his engineer was like, "Oh, Lewis is in second place," and he's like, "Let's stop speaking to the last lap.
Tell me what the last lap is, and then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, stop talking to me to the last lap." Yeah. Like, you know what, Charles? I get it. You had a bad weekend.
Yeah. I think he's real, and I would have said the same thing, because why the fuck are you telling me that Lewis is in second? What the fuck does that have to do with me all the way back here? Leave me alone.
Yeah. And also, too, this was actually something interesting. What's the official name for where the podium drivers park their cars?
That's a good question. I don't know.
But usually it's just like a little stand that has 1, 2, and 3. The way the Canada had it was very different. It was like a big old block. It had Kimmy's picture, and it had like
yes. Some of I don't know why some of the races do it and some of them don't. Some of them just have the little thing where it just has like the little sign.
Yeah.
And others, because there was one, we've already had one this year that was like this, I think, where they like the first place person drives onto like a little stage,
like a little platform. Yeah.
Because I know there's definitely some of the Middle East ones have ones like that. There's a couple.
Vegas have one.
Vegas is like that.
Yeah.
I think Mexico's is also like that, because on Mexico's they like lift up the car.
Mm-hmm. I just hadn't seen it in Canada before, so or maybe I
call it. Yeah, but
that was cute.
Very slay. Kimi Antonelli, Grand Prix winner.
The one part for me after the race that I was kind of raising my eyebrows at and side-eyeing was George. George was making comments that he was like, basically implying that he was out of championship contention. And I was like, sir, y'all only had 6 races. How are you like giving up already? Like, to be honest, you could win every single race and Kimi could not win another race.
He doesn't have that dog in him.
I was just like, I was so frustrated with him. I was like, I understand your frustration, but it's not like this weekend was hard. This race was hard, I should say. Your main competitor won the race and you didn't get any points. Got it. But you still won the sprint. You're still steadily gaining points. It's not out of reach. If this was Vegas, sure, I could understand that point of view. But
it's a 43-point gap.
Like, that's 2 races. That's it.
Give me my DNF.
You don't know. So I was just so disappointed to hear that from him. I was just like, this is not what you hear from a champion.
It's because he doesn't have that dog in him. Like, straight up. George does not have that dog in him. George has the normal level of F1 dog, right? Which is like a Boston Terrier. Of like, I'm great and I'm the best and I'm a world champion in the making and I'm world champion. Like, they all have to believe they're world championship caliber. Okay. Yeah. But you got to think you're a world champ. If you're in the fastest fucking car, you have the best fucking engine. Shut the fuck up Neither of you should be sitting here saying you're out of the competition at any point until you're out of it. Like, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. Okay? Even if Oscar Piastri was sitting here being like, I'm out of the championship, yes, you literally probably are at this point, but like, you literally have a top 2 car with a Mercedes engine in it. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Right? Like, it is one thing to say, like, I don't think it's realistic for us to be fighting for the championship this year, a la a Lewis, Max, a Charles, whatever. Because that's just true.
Yeah.
You're in second place. The only person in front of you has the exact same car as you. You're 43 points behind. We have 14 races left. Bitch.
14!
You only need to make up, like, less than... What? He needs to make up 3 points a weekend?
That's it.
That's really low-hanging fruit.
Beyond low-hanging fruit.
Like, you could, like, you're just having a bitch moment, which again goes back to my whole point of people say things that don't make any fucking sense and that are very emotionally driven when they are in heightened emotional situations. And I think that he has an internal struggle with that concept. And that's why he does the things he does and is the way he is. Because I think any logical person would go, okay, this is how I might be feeling in the moment. I'm in press hours later. This has to be off to the side.
Yeah.
But I think for him, like, disconnecting those things is difficult. And so he will carry it with him much longer than he probably should. Because he's like, oh, well, this is how I feel in the moment. I'm like, but you know you're not going to feel that way tomorrow. Like...
Are we sure?
I mean, if he is, then he should drop out now. You're not a big dog. Give Max that Mercedes car and let's see this shit get popping. Like, drop out now. Drop out now. Drop out of Formula One. Let Max take the fucking seat. And let's see some real action get put on this fucking track with that Mercedes car, okay? Like, get in it. Get after it. You're in the fucking fastest car. Let's go.
I don't know. You mentioning Max getting in the car. Someone did like a little, I don't know, meme, is what you call it, but they did a picture. They're like, oh, what we see, and it was a picture of Kimi, Lewis, and Max.
Max. Yes.
And then they're like, what Toto sees, and it's all 3 of them in a Mercedes.
That's what he sees, bro.
And he was just like, past, present, future.
Literally.
As Max of the future, I was like, I mean, Max could do some damage. As much as I am not rooting for Max.
Max would do damage in that fucking Mercedes. Like, the Mercedes lapped the back markers like 2 times. I think Max might have lapped him a cool 4. If you put that man in that Mercedes. Like, it's scary to think of. It's truly terrifying thinking of Lewis or Max in that fucking Mercedes.
Put Charles in that Mercedes. It's like,
I think Charles Charles would win the championship with that Mercedes easy. I think. I think the other thing on the Max Mercedes note before we get into our pop culture corner is there was an interview that that Toto did where he basically was like, oh yeah, I don't really have any intention of changing our driver lineup. Like, I don't see any reason why that would change. But obviously we all know that, like, I admire and respect Max. And I'm like, why you gotta bring him in? Nobody asked about him.
Make sure he breadcrumbs it so that it's always in Max's ear.
Like, oh baby, I always, you're really my favorite. Like, bitch, I can't stand Toto's bitch ass. But we'll see. We'll see if they change the regulations. Because if they keep these same regulations, Max has basically been like, I'm gone. So there might not be a Max for
at least race next season.
He has been saying both things. He is like, I will race next season. I'm not retiring. If they keep these fuck ass regulations, I'm retiring. Like, he has said both. So I think it depends on how he's feeling that day. But Bex, any other Canadian GP thoughts before we hop into our pop culture corner?
Nope. Let's hop in.
I'm sure you know what we gonna talk about.
I actually don't.
The Summer House.
Oh, I do.
Reunion Part 1.
Okay, can I give you a
Yes, you can give me a
hand
wavy motion.
I have not actually watched the Summer House reunion. However, actually, I've seen I've seen about half of it.
Okay.
And then I've seen clips of mostly
the important parts.
Yes. So
Okay.
I can talk freely with knowledge, but
Okay.
no, the little bits I haven't seen.
Okay. So I want to go through a couple things for the Summer House meeting.
Okay.
One, I love that they gave us a little bit of them being on stage. I always like when we get a little lead up, and I think that of all of the Bravo reunions I've ever watched, this felt like the Bravo reunion where the lead up was actually critical to the watching of the reunion. Normally, I feel like it's filler content to make us feel like we're with the ladies. But this time I was like, oh no, I think that this actually has set the tone for the way that everybody acts on this stage. Because Sierra is clearly shaken up. Kyle is clearly shaken up. The rest of the cast is clearly shaken up. And Amanda and Wes' dirty, grimy asses are sitting in their dressing room being like, we're so zen. I'm high on Coke and Xanax right now, and I'm so zen. And I'm like, to be zen is to abdicate yourself of any presence in the situation.
Yeah.
Because you should not be able to be zen if you care about these people the way you purport to care about them. You would not be able to be zen. Like, I'm sorry. Either you have taken 3 times the lethal dose of Xanax, and that's how you've gotten this zen, or you don't give a fuck about these bitches. And in my opinion, it's a little of option A and a little bit of option B. Okay?
I think so too.
And it was, you could tell it was even disarming to Andy when he was in the room, because he's like, how are you guys feeling? Expecting them to be a little bit anxious, to be like, we feel so bad that we hurt our friends, da da da. And they're just gonna be like, I mean, yeah, we want to like clear up the rumors and like, you know, but we're feeling good. We're feeling zen. And Andy's like, what's wrong with you? Like, you can tell his face, he's kind of like,
well, here's the thing. I don't really know how to gauge times because he's just sort of not there. But for me, Amanda went into that reunion 100% not expecting to get the smoke that she got. She was gobsmacked at how quickly
everybody gave her that smoke.
She was so shocked. And I was like,
why are you shocked?
I'm confused. Why are you shocked?
And you know what I'm going to tell you? I will tell you the reason why Amanda's shocked. And it's a multi-layered reason. Reason number 1. Amanda thinks that the problem with what occurred is potentially cheating on Kyle and the lying. She's a little bit right that the lying is a huge part of this. Amanda refuses to accept that whether you didn't cheat on Kyle, and even though the lying is a part of this, Amanda cannot sit down and go, I should not have gotten involved with West. Amanda does not accept that that is the problem in and of itself, and nothing you do after you have done the initial thing is going to save from the fact that you do not believe the initial thing was a problem. That is always going to set you on the wrong foot, because I genuinely think that she was like, okay, if I explain why I lied, and I say I didn't cheat on Kyle, well, then there's no more issues anymore, because I've explained the issue. And she was gobsmacked by his smoke, because she was like, well, but it's clear why I lied, right? Like, I've made it very clear why I lied, which is I didn't think that it was, like, I knew that it was messy, so I didn't want to tell anybody. And it's like, Amanda, that's not the only problem, though. The problem's not just the lying. The lying was actually, in my opinion, the lying would have always been a problem because you guys are good friends. The lying became a huge problem because of how upfront your friends were with checking you on it, right? It would have been one thing if they had been like, oh, I don't believe the rumors, and you never corrected them.
Yeah.
That's one type of lying, which would have still been bad.
Mm-hmm.
The lying is only this big of a problem because you got asked continuously by every person, and you lied to every person. That is why the lying is a problem, right? It's not literally the fact that you lied. which would have been a problem anyway, but like a much smaller problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I actually do think the lying is completely understandable if it had been like, oh, well, obviously I don't believe the rumors, and then like whatever. I think it would have been a understandable and still fucked up lie. But the fact that you bold-faced lied, given the opportunity to come clean over and over and over again, that you initiated conversations to go, these are all fake and rumors, while you know it's not fake and rumors, right? And Sierra has that initial conversation. You say, no, it's all fake and rumors. You circle back after you've done more to then keep lying. That's crazy. That is like an inexcusable, like, just fuck you to all of your friends. And like that, like, why would they ever trust you again? Because they know that you like don't live in reality with them and that you don't value them as friends, right? So that's problem number one, is Amanda doesn't understand that dating West is the problem because she can't acknowledge that she is in the wrong for doing it, right? In her mind, everyone else is in the wrong for blowing up her dating West, and the only bad thing she did was lie. And I'm like, but that's not true. The bad thing is dating West, because you're being a horrible friend by dating West, which goes into layer 2 of why Amanda can't get this, which is, as they said on the stage, and as we have always known, because I think it's very obvious, Amanda has no friends. Amanda does not have friends the way Sierra and Mia are friends, for example. Yeah. Amanda, and I think that that's the other thing for Amanda.
Like Katie DeLuca.
And that's the other thing that I don't think, like, Amanda's not getting it. Because Amanda was really upset by them saying that she doesn't have friends, right? When they're like, who are you going out? Who are you like? And she's like, I have other friends. And I'm like, but we're talking about two different things. Amanda, you're talking about you have people you can go to dinner with.
Yeah, you can hang out with.
That's not what Lindsay and Sierra and Mia are talking about. They're saying, who are your friends, right? Who are your actual friends? Who else was there with you taking fertility tests when you were scared you and Kyle couldn't have kids? Who's offering you to stay at their house so that you can separate from Kyle? Who's finding do you have friends like that? Besides Katie DeLuca, you damn sure don't. That's what they mean when they're like, I would never do this to a friend. And for Amanda, she would do this to a friend because she has no friends. And so she doesn't actually have a barometer of somebody she cares about enough to not lean into her own learned helplessness that she operates her feelings with. There is nobody important enough to her to not do that because she has no friends. And so when she even was like, nobody's ever been in this situation before, everybody was easily able to say, of course not. Why? Because I love my friends and I respect my friends. So, and I was like, Amanda, you don't have anybody like that. That you feel this deference towards, that you're like, I could like West and it's not important enough. Right? Because that's ultimately what it comes down to, is it comes down to two things for Amanda's feelings. Amanda believes that her liking West is the most important thing because Amanda is one of the more male-centered women I've ever seen visually in my life, where she thinks that her emotional romantic feelings are the most paramount thing that exists, and therefore everything else needs to fall in deference to them. And you saw it with Kyle, and you see it with West, where Amanda's habits, Amanda's personality, Amanda's hobbies, activities, what she does, what she wears, who she talks to, how she treats her friends, they all trickle down from how she wants to operate on a romantic level. Kyle is this cool city guy, so she's a cool city girl. Yep. Kyle wants to live in Manhattan in a high-rise, so Amanda wants to live in Manhattan in a high-rise, and I'll just complain that I want to go live in the Jersey suburbs. But I'm not going to do anything about the fact that we live in Manhattan. Right? West dresses in knee-length jorts that look goddamn awful on him. I gotta wear knee-length jorts and go drink beer every day, despite the fact that up until this point it's been abundantly clear that I do not drink beer and I do not like to go out and party. Right? Everything's a trickle down of that. So naturally to Amanda, well, why wouldn't you guys get that the most important thing is that I get to suck West's dick? How do you not get that, like, obviously I'm gonna go do that? And to everybody else, they're like, because there are other things that are more important than you having a crush. Because that's what this ultimately is you had a crush on West because you were in a horrible, horrible marriage that didn't emotionally fulfill you. You had a crush, and to you, you must act on that crush. And that is the other thing, is that Amanda has horrible emotional regulation. She has horrible restraint, and she has this learned helplessness about her emotions where she feels, and you hear her say it, that she is a victim to her emotions, right? That she does not have a choice.
I can't help it.
Yeah. She's like, well, I don't choose who I'm attracted to. And I'm like, and stop right there. I can agree with you, maybe, that you, right, to an extent, that you cannot choose who you're attracted to. The fact that for you, Amanda, being attracted to somebody means you must pursue them is a problem for you. That problem will continue to pop up in your life in one of two ways. Either you will repress your own sexuality and sensuality so hard because you genuinely believe that the act of being attracted to someone means you must pursue them. And so you will not let yourself open your eyes and explore to anything but the partner you're currently with because you are genuinely scared that if you ever acknowledge that there are other people out there, you will cheat on them. You will pursue because in your mind, if I'm attracted, I must pursue. Yeah. Or the opposite problem happens, which is what she's doing now, which is I have no control over my emotion, over my actions because they're linked to my emotions. So I will act on every emotion I have. And I'm like, so do you not find Katie DeLuca's husband attractive? You were laid up in bed cuddling with Katie DeLuca's husband. We saw the photos at the party. You were laid up with, you not gonna fuck her husband? You clearly find him a good, attractive man. You not gonna fuck him? What are we doing here? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And she's like a web of problems that are like baffling to me because I'm like, ultimately, any sane person would have told you, you've been with Kyle for 10 years, you need to not be with anybody.
Yeah.
But that's not what Amanda wants to do. Amanda wants to be up under a man.
She does. And one thing I was actually listening to someone, I forgot where, if it was on a podcast or if it was on TikTok. Someone was just like, Amanda has, just watching her in the reunion, she has always had protection at the reunion. Sitting next to Kyle and Kyle going to bat for her, or Paige going to bat for her, Sierra going to bat for her. This year, she has no one there, and West is literally
the worst person on that stage you could have defend you.
Not saying anything. And you can see like a couple times she actually kind of like is exaggerated. She kind of looks at him. I don't know if she's looking at him like out of desperation, like help me, or she just kind of like for a life. I don't know.
I think it's habit. I think it's habit because for all of Kyle's many, many faults as a husband, I have been on Reddit, Twitter, every season, dragging Kyle's ass up and down my page, okay? For Kyle's many, many faults as a husband, Kyle was a protective husband.
He was.
He was many things, and is still many things, to be clear. But he was an extremely protective husband. He was, quite frankly, an overly protective husband for where he would lash out at everybody else for scenarios where it's like, do you really need to write a 17-page email to your coworkers on this show because they cropped your wife out of an Instagram photo? That's ridiculous. Okay? But he was an extremely protective husband. And to your point, Amanda has never sat up there and not had somebody to like ding, ding, ding behind. And so I think even if she wasn't necessarily looking to West for help, it is new territory for her to be on the front lines of like, West is never going to defend you.
And the thing about it is,
he doesn't even defend himself.
West I was kind of irritated at one point because he was literally not saying anything. He mumbled like a couple things under his breath. But then when the conversation switched to like more lighthearted stuff, when they were talking about like Jesse song and like Bailey and the newbie, like he starts chiming in, and I'm like, you asshole. You can't defend the woman that you're sleeping with in a relationship, God only knows where. But when you want time to kiki and have a good time and laugh and play, now you want to speak up.
It's because to be protective over somebody requires a level of responsibility. I will use the word ownership, but it's not the word I mean. It's like
you feel not responsible.
But I think that's we don't know what the word is, but like that's like the feelings and emotions around it. The last thing West ever wants to do is be responsible for anything. Right? West strikes me as one of those people, and this happened with specifically, I'm thinking of a below deck person.
Okay.
And I think she's a great example. I don't remember her name, but she had a boyfriend coming onto the boat. And one night in a call, she wanted to cheat on her boyfriend with one of the guys on the boat. So she calls her boyfriend and she's like, I don't want to be responsible for your emotions. And I'm like, but she's not referencing the understandable thing of like, you should be responsible for your own emotions. Like, I can't own them.
Mm-hmm.
She was referencing, I don't want you to react to whatever I'm going to do. And that's West, right? West wants all the benefits of having romantic relationships and great friendships, and he wants none of the culpability for the fact that his actions do impact others, right? Even sitting on the stage, you are being mute partially because you don't got nothing to fucking say, right? West has nothing to say to what they're all saying. Quite frankly, I actually think West agrees and understands that fucking Amanda was a problem. I think West is fully fucking aware that it was fucked up of him to pursue Amanda. And I think that if you asked him, he would agree that it was fucked up of him to pursue Amanda. And also, West does not want anybody to react to anything he ever does.
Yeah.
He is very self-conscious, and he has horrible self-esteem issues. He does not want anybody to ever react negatively to anything he does. And that's what's fueling this, like, I don't give a fuck. Is I can't give a fuck and I can't interact with this situation and I have to disassociate from this because then I might need to acknowledge that indeed my actions do impact other people, right? Like beyond myself. And I think that like you see that even in the like, they talk about Miha, the girl that he is his girlfriend. I don't know why we keep doing this. It's his fucking girlfriend, right? Has been his girlfriend for a bop. And he's like, well, yeah, you know, she did sleep over the night before, Watch What Happens Live. And Amanda's like, no, I knew about Miha. And it's like, okay. So let's take a step back then. So you're a side chick.
That's
like, so you're a side chick.
Struggling with her. I was like, ma'am, you are trying to lie your way out of the situation.
And you're not good at it.
Grading yourself and actually making yourself look so pathetic just to keep it with the storyline instead of just saying, yeah, he fucked me over. We talked, like he lied to me. We're talking through it and working through it.
Easy. It's because for Amanda, I think that and the thing is, I think she's correct, right? She needs to justify all of this under the banner of it's worth it. And as I think many people on the internet have only pointed out, this is only worth it if it's your fucking husband. You better go marry West and have like 7 babies.
And West is not marrying you.
West is never marrying you. So, but the thing is, for her, she's like, okay, well then I have to portray that like we're really in love and like are so communicative and we talk about everything. No, there's no cheating going on here like with Kyle. That would never be the case. Like, and that's like even the same reason why she lied. Not the only reason, because I think the actual reason that she was fucking cheating on Kyle. But one of the reasons why she lies and says they didn't sleep together until after their statement is because then she feels like, oh, well, now I'm not a side chick and he's not a cheater because that would just be me getting back with a cheater. And I'm like, well, Amanda, you are with a cheater, actually, because West is still on Raya all over New York fucking mad bitches. Yeah. Okay? We know that. We happen to know that West is still fucking bitches. So he is cheating on you if you're in this magical relationship with him that you claim is so great. And it's the other thing that the cast pointed out. Which one is it? Was it so up in the air and confusing and non-concrete that you couldn't tell us? Or was it this magical soul-changing connection that you knew you just had to fuck me over for? Because it can't be both. How are you so confused if it's also so paramount? Like, that's not how this is going. It was an infuriating situation to watch, quite frankly, because she's just so irritating about the whole thing. I loved Sierra's dress. I wish they didn't put the mesh.
Me neither. When I first
I think it could have been glossy body.
I thought it was body until I saw it closer. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it was mesh. I think she could have just been doing body.
The only thing I didn't like about the dress is when she was sitting down, those like, I don't know what they were, but those like strands, like how you could see it was kind of getting in the way. Yeah. She was like crossing her legs and trying to fix it. So
yeah. So I thought that was great. I've been seeing a quote go around, her whole like, let's get the details before I put him in the ground and cover him with dirt. I think people thought that was like really like a savage, like, I'm gonna kill them on this stage. I actually don't think that's what she was talking about.
No, I thought she wanted to bury the situation, like kill
exactly. It. She's like, I want to get the details because this is the last time you're seeing me. Like, you two, this is the last time you're ever gonna fucking see me. So let's get the details right now because we're never talking again.
Yeah, I really thought it was sort of like, I want to dead this so that we don't have to speak like this again. And we don't
exactly. Like, these two don't exist to me after I leave this reunion stage. So let's get all the details out here right now. Let's clear it. And after that, see you at the wedding, bitch.
I'm so glad that Mia was on this stage.
Yes.
Because it was such a stark contrast. Like, this is what a best friend looks like. This is how a best friend acts.
Yes.
What Sierra was how Sierra was viewing the relationship and the friendship and showing up in the friendship was how a best friend acts in relation to Amanda. Amanda, you don't have that with anyone. And so I really like that Mia was there, especially when you don't have Paige anymore on the show.
Yeah. I think that's so necessary. Like, I struggle to think about this season and this reunion without Mia. I shudder to think of it. It's bad. But I'm so glad she was there. And I think also the other thing is that, like, because she doesn't have any friends, because these romantic relationships are paramount in her life, like, Amanda doesn't get that, like, pouring in and warmth of, like, a friendship. Like, she doesn't get that. And she's never gotten that from a romantic partner because even though Kyle's very protective, like, that's also not the vibe they ever had between them. They were never, like, this warm, lovey-dovey. Exactly.
Yeah. He's not internally.
They never appeared to be this warm, lovey-dovey couple. No. And so I think for Amanda, it's difficult to understand that, like, that is indeed what the expectation is for a bestie. And I even find it very interesting because I think that we have given Kyle a lot of flack over the seasons for this narrative that Amanda is not ambitious and that she's lazy and that she's this and that she's that. Because I think initially, and I still believe this to be true, his insistence that Amanda be a lover boy, like, employee would naturally stifle anybody's ambition because why would she go do something else and this, right? Like, I think that's a natural stifler to anybody's ambition. But I do think he made the good point of whether Amanda's ambitious or not, because I don't think it's fair necessarily to say that she isn't ambitious. I would personally agree just because I'm like, how do you have nothing coming out of Summer House so far? Like, your bikini brand, you weren't, like, why did you not have every girl on this show in your bikinis? Like, you know,
like, everyone in that house, like,
should be in.
And you were wearing a swimsuit. Throw this on.
Exactly. Every single episode. The same way Kyle does not let them motherfuckers drink anything but Loverboy unless they're at a restaurant.
And if I was Amanda, I would be walking around in that house all day, 24/7 in swimsuits, 3-4 a day. That'd be my outfit. Just swimsuit top and some ugly pants that she likes to wear, those baggy pants.
Exactly. Right? So I personally don't view her as an ambitious person, but I also don't think not being ambitious is, like, a moral failing. I don't care if somebody's not ambitious. Like, I don't really give a damn. What I do dislike about her, and I also don't think laziness is a moral failing. I think the way that Amanda goes about being lazy, though, is not genuine laziness in the way that people try to say is a moral failing. It's not. It is this, like, faux, like, lack of dedication and effort in relationships that I find very interesting because it feels very childlike. And it feels very like even, for example, with Kyle and this, like, DJing and lover boy situation, right? Mm-hmm. We find out in the City, I don't know if you're watching In the City.
I've seen clips.
We find out in the City that Amanda has not been paying the rent or bills for the house for 3 years. And that she owed Kyle $120,000 and immediately was able to wire it to him. And so I'm like, okay, this is your husband who you purported to love, who is your partner, your lifelong partner. He is sitting here grinding and dying and, like, having mental breakdowns because of Loverboy.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't occur to you for a second to go, I'll cover the rent. That's more clearly able to.
She used it, like, as a trump card. She was like, no sweat off my back.
And, like, that reflects negatively on you.
It does.
Why were you sitting on $100,000 of immediately liquid cash that you are unconcerned about,
You could
and
have.
your husband is dying?
And so I don't know if this is true. I've heard she has a trust fund. A lot of people have weighed upon, like some people have like argued about how much is in the trust fund. But one thing I didn't know is that her parents were able to give Kyle $500,000 cash.
They did.
They invested in Loverboy.
Yeah.
If your parents have $500,000 to us, when I say people are investing, I basically feel like you're just throwing away your money. You obviously hope for a return, but you're basically you're investing money.
Yeah, it's their son-in-law. They gave him like liquid capital to get it going.
Yeah, so I'm like $500,000. That's no small change. So to me, and then knowing more about Amanda now, it feels like Amanda's just been like a spoiled rich girl who's never really had to work. If I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard, she'd never really had like a real job.
I think she was some sort of creative content, like creative person, like who like doing like marketing campaigns. The stuff she did for Loverboy. Like that's also the other reason that it pisses me off about Amanda is I'm like, I remember what Amanda was doing for Loverboy initially. She was doing really good creative and marketing work.
Well, she came up with a logo, but she came up with like
she was doing she was doing stuff for Loverboy. And so I have like the same comment for Amanda that I actually normally have for straight businessmen, which is like when you really want something and you really want to dedicate your time and energy to it, you pour into it. You worked hard at this logo and you worked hard to keep Loverboy going and do the creative direction and all this stuff. Why don't you want to do that with the people you purport to care about? Like, why do you not have that same desire to pour into Sierra as like, why don't you want to do that?
Especially when you see how much Sierra's been pouring into you.
Yeah. Like, why do you not have a desire to do that? I find that very strange. That you don't have that same desire, if not a greater desire to do that because you purport to love this person. So that's for me with Amanda. I'm like, I think that everybody on this stage is better off washing their hands of you because you have made it abundantly clear that like you can't stand on business at all. And you can only stand on business behind somebody telling you shouldn't have the boyfriend you have. That's the only time Amanda pipes up. It's the only time she piped up about Kyle was when somebody's like, well, you should be with Kyle. She's like, well, I love him. It's like, okay, girl, you can keep getting dragged all up around every city that y'all visit because he fucking mad bitches when you're gone. That's your business. You can do that. But that's what you're choosing to do. And so she stresses me out, quite frankly.
She does.
I find her stress-inducing.
I don't know. The whole situation, I'm excited for part 2 because one thing, this from the get-go, it was tense. Like there's one point where I was just like, ooh.
No, literally.
Because I don't know, everyone was you could just feel it through the TV. And usually when we see like Bravo reunions, you usually see the first part is where they work up to like the big conflict.
Exactly.
That fuck you, Sierra, and that shut the fuck up, Amanda, it was like
no, literally.
And it was just like, okay, gloves are off.
Well, let's get
off with Sierra. I don't know. Amanda was standing there thinking everything was sweet.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last question before we wrap up the pod. Do you think KJ and Dara are still together amongst this whole unfollowing, untagging, but then he posted the music video with her yesterday? What do you think is going on? Because I think they broke up.
I think that they broke up. I think, I'm not gonna lie, like his whole storyline and him being diagnosed with BPD, which at first I thought was bipolar disorder.
No,
I realized it was borderline personality disorder.
Yeah. And
I was just like, well, I think, and to be honest, I think he needs some time to himself. That's a big diagnosis. You need, and some people said that like the up and downs of relationship is actually something that's quite common for people who have BPD.
Yeah. I think he also just needs time not on reality TV. Because quite frankly, I think that he deserves to break up with his girlfriend and be messy without it becoming headline news.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good for anybody, but especially dealing with a new mental health diagnosis, to then feel like your journey and your process are being every little thing.
From what I understand, was he on a mental hold?
I think he admitted himself for a brief mental hold. Yes.
Okay. Because when he was like, "Oh, Amanda's not Sierra and Mia were like checking in on," I was like, "Okay, well then I don't. If it was a mental hold, they usually don't let visitors in." So I was confused.
Yeah, I think he just checked himself in for like oversight.
Mm-hmm. So, and it was kind of sad to me because when they first started, like West and KJ were like childhood friends from Missouri.
Literally. Well, but the thing is, I think that makes it worse.
It does.
Like, that makes it so much worse. You
friend.
lied to, and you didn't even lie to like one of these new city bitches that like you linked up with after you got on the show or after you were trying to make it. I'm your friend from like home.
Your friend
Like, I'm your friend from home. And on top of that, I don't know if you got to this part or if you saw this clip. The newbies ask West and Amanda, none of us got text from you. The rest of the cast, West didn't text KJ at all to apologize. West texted every OG to apologize and then left out KJ. And they're like, well, we just thought with the newbies, we didn't want to drag you into it. And they're like, one, we're on the cast. We're dragged in. Two, let's say that that's a reasonable argument. West, why is that all that KJ is to you? Is a new member of the cast. You're fucked up. You're fucked in the head. That's your very good childhood friend, and to you,
like, you made it seem to us. Now, I don't know, maybe y'all aren't that close.
And now he's been reduced to, oh, he's just a new member of the cast, and it's like, so this all goes back to what Lindsay and Sierra were saying, which is that you're a fraudulent person. No reasonable person would that be the, like, you're a fraud. Like, you don't make any sense. I don't think that you have real relationships that you're showing up and being actually present and real in. And like Paige called it out back in the Lindsay Carl fucking breakup summer, where it was like, why are they having the worst summer of their lives and you're texting in the group chat, oh my god, this is the best summer ever, the show is so good.
Remember that,
are
yeah.
you crazy?
And he's like, you have two people whose lives are being like
decimated, and you're like, this is amazing TV.
Yeah. And to be honest, like Paige clocked him. I think she sort of she got to a point where she just
wrapped him up.
But she clocked him very early on. Yeah. And so I'm still very disappointed in just how much they're not taking accountability, but I really I'm going to be sat on Tuesday to see part 2 and to see what else we discuss. The only thing for me though is I really want us to get into the season and how they were acting. And the other thing for me is I need West to open his mouth and explain the whole situation with Sierra during the season.
Girl, he's gonna be.
You're making it.
They asked him about it. They asked him about like you and Sierra canoodling and da da da. I don't know if you haven't seen this clip yet. They asked him about him and Sierra canoodling. This is also the part where Sierra clarifies that she was sleeping over at his house multiple times throughout the fall. And Amanda was like, I didn't know it was to that extent, whatever, looking fucked up, looking really upset. And I'm like, why are you that upset? You guys weren't dating then. Unless you have something you want to tell us? Why is that upsetting? That shouldn't matter at all. Anyway, but he says it was just ear stuff. And everyone's like, bitch, what? I think he was trying to say that they were just like, he was just like kissing on her ear, and everyone's like, you were making out on camera, we can see you, you dumb bitch. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, so she was sleeping over at your house and you were just kissing her on the ear? That's what was happening while she was sleeping over in your bed, Wes.
Yeah, Sierra's not gonna open her mouth and say that she was sleeping with him.
Yeah.
Because I think she's just tired of being embarrassed by him. But
yeah. I'm like, Wes, please be for real.
We can put two together. We don't need her to say.
But like they asked him a little bit about it. He's not gonna say shit. And the reason that I know Wes doesn't say anything of particular note is I think that if Wes said anything worth hearing, we would have gotten a teaser. It would have been in the preview. Like a sentence from him. would have been in the preview. We had one sentence from him in the preview. We've already seen it in part 1. It's a chop. I think that he shuts the fuck up and doesn't say anything of note the rest of the reunion. I'm curious to see if he actually ends up going after Amanda.
What do you mean?
Like, in the teaser, Amanda gets up and storms off, because of course she does.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, go get your girl.
But it looks, I'm not gonna lie, once people start saying go get your girl, like, it looks so bad if you actually just like, okay, let me get up and go. Like,
you look bad either way. You might as well prioritize the comfort of the person you're purporting to have this amazing relationship with.
Sure.
You're gonna look bad no matter what you do. So you should prioritize them. And that also is ultimately, like, that is ultimately also the problem with the lack of comfort that West offers Amanda on stage, is he is so perception focused. He does not want to look bad.
Yeah.
And that gets in the way of understanding what I just said, which is you're gonna look bad anyway. You may as well comfort this person you purport to have a real relationship with. Except that real relationship is nowhere near as important to you as looking good. If you didn't know that you would look god awful now to dump Amanda immediately, you would have dumped Amanda. Also, you don't need to dump Amanda. I think that's also the other thing for West. People are like, oh, they're going to break up. I'm like, they don't need to break up. No. From West's perspective, why would you ever break up with Amanda? You don't need to. You can literally sleep with the entirety of New York City, and she's going to la-di-da-di-da her way through it. You don't ever, like, the only thing that breaking up with Amanda would give you is the ability to be in a monogamous relationship with a woman who will actually hold you to that standard, and West doesn't want to do that. So for West, he can stay with Amanda for years. Amanda's not going to do anything about the fact that he's cheating on her. It's easy. Very simple for West. So everyone's like, oh, they're going to break up in 6 months. I'm like, no, they're not, because Amanda's never going to break up with him. And as West, why would you ever break up with Amanda? You don't need to.
You don't need to.
Nothing changes in your life because you're dating Amanda. Except that she's like, West, let's go out. And then you just wait for her to go home and then you go back out. Like, nothing has to change.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait for the reunion to be done because I'm heated. Like, this situation has me hot for so many reasons.
It's exhausting.
It really is. But all right, next race is Monaco. Boo. It is next weekend because listeners, we're recording this late. Sorry. Bear with us. But Monaco next weekend. We'll see if it's good. We'll see if it's cool. Oh, I forgot to mention it during the normal section. So maybe our fans have clicked off by this point because we've been yapping about Summer House for so long. But Monaco has no straight zones, which are like the new DRS zones. So I don't know how that's going to go. That's going to be a mess, personally. So I don't think it'll be good. I think we're looking at a George Russell win in Monaco unless something crazy happens. So fingers crossed. Listeners, please rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms, including YouTube, where you can see our lovely faces on screen. And we will see you next week for the Monaco Grand Prix. Thank you, listeners.
Bye.